Support for Ruff Talk VR is brought to you by Manscaped, the champion in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels.
Manscaped just launched their 4th generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right, the 4.0. Join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. That's going to be 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code RuffTalkVR, no spaces, at manscaped.com.
Imagine shaving with a sleek, well-designed, and optimized trimmer that makes shaving time your favorite time in the bathroom, which is tough competition.
I've been lucky enough to try the new 4.0, and I'm blown away by the performance. The craftsmanship and details on the 4.0 are next level.
I remember the first time I went to go trim up my boys downtown, and I thought I could get away with using the same dull razor I use on my face. Let me tell you, I was wrong. It took a long time before I could have the confidence to go to town down there again, and I'm glad to say Manscaped has given me the confidence I need to shape my boys up pretty.
Manscaped engineered the ultimate groin and body trimmer by focusing on intelligent functionality and an incredibly comfortable grooming experience. Their 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. I now feel confident shaving my boys.
Men, if you've been shaving with the same nut trimmer on your face, you've been doing it wrong. No person wants to end up with pubes in their mouth. It's time to get your own ball hair and body trimmer with Manscaped to make me time the best time and enhance your confidence with some nice, smooth boys.
Get 20% off and free shipping with the code RuffTalkVR, all one word, at manscaped.com. Your balls will thank you.
Hey guys, welcome to this episode of Ruff Talk VR. Today we're talking with the developers of one of my favorite App Lab games.
I'm stoked for this one.
Oh yeah, when me and Stratus were playing Iron Guard, amazing VR tower defense game. You know, it was probably by level 3 where we're like, we have to try to get this dude on the podcast. Somebody from the team.
Yeah, if people didn't hear the episode, they should definitely listen to it. But if you like tower defense, this was unbelievable.
Yeah, this a must play. So today we're joined by Zubin, one of the members of the team involved in Iron Guard. Like I said, a VR tower defense game. So my friend, do you mind to introduce yourselves a little bit more to our guests? Tell them a little bit about yourself, and you know, in case they have no idea what review episode we're talking about and what Iron Guard is. Can you tell them a little bit more about what your game is?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on, guys. It's my first time doing this call, so hopefully I can share enough insight about myself and my team and the game. So a little bit background about myself. I have a visual effects and animation background. Been doing VR experiences for quite a few years now, and I've just been, so kind of excited with this medium and just to see it kind of grow. We've been kind of dabbling with architectural walkthroughs for a long time, and gaming was always something that we wanted to do. So Iron Guard is our first, title that we had to kind of, put out there. So again, a little bit about myself. I have a visual effects animation background. I'm based in LA. Worked at most of the major studios, Disney, DreamWorks, a lot of big tentpole movies. So always, been in the creative kind of environment. And I tried to bring some of that, to the team and to our title. You'll see some of that, it's a story-based game. So it's just, we try to develop some kind of affinity for the players, to be tied to the story. There's a starting, middle, and end. So it's been an exciting project.
What chose you to go I love your background, by the way. Those are every Disney, DreamWorks. You know how it is.
Yeah, just super casual about these major. I just worked for a little bit of everybody. Nothing big. I know everybody's done it.
Pretty much, if you name it, they're worth anything. I worked for them. No, but what made you go tower defense? Because I mean, it's such a unique. We actually have talked to people who we mentioned. We were excited about it. We're like, tower defense. They're like, what the hell is a tower defense? And I'm like, how do you not know what a tower defense game is?
Yeah.
But what was what was that decision to go that route?
Yeah, so I think it's a couple of things. Again, I've been working with a couple of developers globally, and this was a title that one of my team members has been kind of working on it for almost 7 years, and we've been kind of pushing back and forth on it. Part of the reason why tower defense, I think, it's a small team that we were dealing with. We didn't want to get too ambitious. At the same time, we wanted to kind of bring up, the quality of our game. So we wanted to make sure that we could balance that, where we don't go too character heavy or too, you know, concept heavy, but at the same time, we're working with a small slate, but we can really push the quality. And I think tower defense kind of allowed us to do some of that. We could really focus on the quality of the environments, the different biomes that the players are kind of going through. And at the end of the day, we wanted to really kind of use the VR medium to make sure that the sense of presence is really strong. So, I mean, if you guys have played the game already, so when you are kind of in the game, you're not like in this endless map. You're basically transported on the battlefield. So you're this, you know, uh, oversized character, where essentially, if it's your room that you're playing in, it's completely converted into a battlefield. And it's like a kid's imagination, where every kid has this, at least as a kid, at least I had that thing where I could make my room into, another kind of play area. So you have all these amazing little toys that you can put around, and they all come to life. So that was, I think, tower defense kind of gave us a lot of those pieces to kind of come together.
And graphically, it's tight. I loved the 3D modeling in that. And one of the things that really, I'm used to like more of the old school tower defense where you didn't really participate, we'll say.
Hmm.
Where this one at first for that little bit, I was like, I don't know if I like this. I don't want to know if I have to,
You're
if I
talking
want
about
to
the
shoot.
the little drone in your
Yeah,
hand.
the drone in your hand to shoot. And then by the end of it all, I'm like, because I was hell bent on hitting the leaderboard on every level. I found myself going back and now using that as much as I could before any of the actual weaponry could take place in the game. So
Yeah.
no, it was unique, but it sold me
Yeah.
real quick.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I think we tried to mix some of that old school, real time strategy game. At the same time, because it was VR, we wanted to make sure that players are constantly engaged, and they're just not, building the turrets or building their plan and then just kind of floating away and not, engaged in the game. So we had to make sure that, uh, yes, at some levels you can kind of get away with it, but then there are some levels where if you're not actively participating, either it is by shooting the enemy or by building all these roadblocks or by mining, uh, you're not going to get too far with it. So
No, and I never even thought of the, like, if it didn't exist, that yeah, I would be building a turret or something and then just watching it go down and just kind of like, I never even thought of that.
yeah, no, it keeps you very actively
Yeah,
engaged in it. It's
it
nice.
shows you as a consumer how dumb sometimes I can be, though.
Well, yeah,
Because there has to be a reason for everything, and I didn't actually get the real reason. But now it really does make sense. Otherwise, you'd be just looking at the screen, going, "Okay, I'm watching it go down."
we'll also
yeah,
say it gives you a sense of hope always because like, all
You're
right,
you're
you'll
invested.
and like, all right, so you might be seeing like part of them getting past your turns. So not only with the drone, but then you also have the chemical weapon and the bomb. It's like if you could just sit there and all you could do is watch, you're just going to watch yourself die and lose now.
yeah,
But now you might drop the bomb and
Mhm.
turn the tide all of a sudden. And now because of your involvement into it, it's like, all right, I still stand a chance. I think this is an example of VR taking a genre and having all the same good elements about it, not losing anything that people love, but eliminating any hindrance or any obstacles that exist into it. So this was awesome. How long was this being worked on? Was this something that you guys pumped out in as soon as the Quest 2 was announced, you guys started working on it, or has this been something that's been years in the making?
yeah. It's been quite a few years. Again, since we were not full time, working on this project, it was in its true sense, an indie project. We all have full time jobs, and we kind of burn the midnight oil on this or the weekends. Staying away from our wives and girlfriends and families and all that fun stuff. So but yeah, I think the original idea and the original concept, I think, started almost 7 years ago with one of the team members, and obviously he tried to take it far, and it was basically for a mobile device. it was on the for the tablets and the phone. Obviously, he had to shelve it a couple of times, and then we kind of resurrected it probably, I would say, around 3 years ago, when we started working on and off really dedicatedly, saying that, okay, we have to do this. And around that time is when VR was really kind of picking up, was becoming more mainstream. And as I said, as a company, we were doing a lot of architectural walkthroughs, and this just kind of made sense that we have to make a game, and this kind of fit that. It just kind of clicked. The timing was perfect. So yeah, I would say about 3 years in the making, on and off. Yeah, we started off with trying to make a version for the Go, and then Quest came about, and then we were like, okay, we have to do this for the Quest, and then obviously it was the Rift, and then the Quest 2, and so it was kind of a organic evolution. But I think once we knew that, we needed both the controllers. We didn't want to make it into a one control thing. We wanted to really scale up this game to have that sense, that really kind of over the top tower defense environment that we wanted to create.
No, I mean, I'm biased. I even might have said it in the podcast because I'm a tower defense junkie back in the day. Like if it's a tower defense, I'm like, I don't care what it is. I'm trying it. So you guys smash. How big? We don't need to know exact, but like, how big is your studio? Because we find most of the smaller studios can actually pump out
Yeah.
some of the best games to play.
Yeah, I would say, like, the core team is probably like 4 or 5 members, and then at its peak, we obviously had amazing, people who did the sound, who done voice, and obviously we had a lot of people who helped out at different stages, to do the artwork, and so I think at its peak we kind of grew up to like 15 people, but I think at its core we were like probably 5 people, 4 to 5 people all the time on the project here.
Nope, makes
Yeah.
sense. Magic number seems to be like what, 7 or below,
Yeah, always.
and you're just pumping out great shit.
Even I'd argue 3 to 5 for indie games. We hear that a lot, and that's a real sweet spot.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so when you guys got onto the store, obviously you guys ended up on App Lab. The first thing that we were saying playing this is, man, maybe our opinion will change by the end, which, spoiler, it didn't. But we're like, so far there's no reason why this should be on the App Lab. This feels like a polished, finished game in
Start to finish.
start to finish in a genre that's not oversaturated on the store. So if you guys were a first person shooter or a rhythm game, I'd go, I understand why they have you on App Lab. Um, but there's really not. There's one other tower defense game on the official Quest store, and it's kind of
Mm,
much less traditional
yeah.
than this one. So what's
Yeah.
been like that? What's the process been like? To get your game on the store. Have you heard anything about what it might take to get onto the official Quest store, or
Yeah.
are you just kind of left in the dark? Same as us, going, man, why is this on App Lab?
No, so I think another interesting part, while when we kind of started this journey, was we signed up for something called the Oculus Start. This is a program that Oculus had, to initiate and kind of support, indie developers to kind of create the content. And I think it has been an amazing program. We're still a part of that, and we are engaged with Oculus, obviously through the Start program, and also through the support channels, trying to see if we can get this to the official store. Obviously, there are certain, I mean, they're watching it. They're watching it closely. Let's just say that, and hopefully we can get there soon. Also, another thing is, as as you mentioned, Brian, is tower defense. Not many people are aware of that genre, especially in the VR space. Many people are like, "What is tower defense?" And maybe that tag is kind of a bit of a downside. And people kind of think, oh, this is only for gamers, and it's not for traditional people who might just like a VR experience. And we were really careful uh, not to kind of alienate the tower defense genre, the RTS genre, but at the same time, we wanted to open it up so that a regular person who hasn't had a lot of gaming experience can really experience this game and say, wow, I really like this. I think it's funny. Like one of the comments, I don't know if it was a side quest or on the App Lab, someone commented, "Oh, this is like chess on steroids," and I just love that analogy because it's like, yeah, you're right. This can be chess because you don't think of chess as a necessarily an RTS or a tower defense game, but it has those elements. So yeah, I think we were really careful to kind of keep that balance. But I think it's a bit of marketing to get that word out there that don't look at us as a forget the word tower defense, just enjoy a game.
Mm.
And I think that's a bit of a challenge to kind of get that adoption level high, and hopefully we can do that and get on the Oculus Store on the radar.
Well, the sad thing about not many people being familiar with the term tower defense is so like we would play pop one, population one. We'd run around the lobby, find our teammate, and we'd be like, hey, you ever hear of a tower defense game? And a lot of times they would say, no, I've never heard of one. But then after talking, and listing a couple examples, quickly they would be like, oh, it's this game, and it's like, yeah. So unfortunately, it seems like a genre that not many people know by name, but
Right.
almost everybody seems to have played a tower defense game, but they
Don't
just might
even
not
know it.
know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just don't know that name.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's quite an odd little thing going.
Yeah.
And have you
Yeah.
been involved in this game since day one? I know you mentioned that your coworkers stopped and started it a couple times. Were you involved
Right.
back then too, or did you
No,
hop
so
in around
my
that 3 years ago?
involvement, yeah, I think my involvement would be around 3 years ago when we seriously, he pitched it to me and like, can we do this? I'm like, all right, let's go ahead, let's do it. And I pretty much made sure we could pour all the resources into it, plan it, and execute it, so that they could they could focus on the creative. I could guide them, obviously. But yeah, I kind of made sure that we could kind of get this delivered.
Yeah. Understood the final wrappings of it all.
Yeah.
And has video game designs always been something that you've wanted to do, or is it kind of just you stumbled into it?
I think it's kind of a mix. I mean, I grew up playing games. I'm not a big, uh, game developer or game enthusiast, but I've always been playing games as a kid, and I think it was the medium VR that kind of really engaged me more than ever. The first time I put on the headset, I was like, "This is it. I mean, this is going to go somewhere. I don't know where it's going to go, whether it's going to be video games or whether it's, as I said, we were doing architectural experiences for really high-end clients, who were totally blown away. I mean, they were showing, selling apartments without, building, a single apartment. So, that kind of lent. So it was always the VR medium actually that drew me more than anything else. And obviously, playing games in VR, I was like, this is so much fun. I mean, I really enjoyed this more than the flat screen, and I can see myself sitting in this for hours. Yeah, so I think it was the VR medium more than just the traditional game design aspect of it.
No,
Yeah, I've given up on flat screen now. It
the,
puts me to sleep.
the console dust is
And
what
it,
I
it
call it.
breaks my heart to say it. Yeah, console dust. Interestingly enough, it's
Yeah,
funny you say architectural, like walkthroughs, architectural design, but I think you're the third developer now
They
who
come from
is
an
who has
architect
come
background.
from an VR architectural start.
yeah,
Was their first real, I'll say, commercial VR experience, and then like their brain went, oh shit, yeah, this can get. But I
yeah,
even love the architectural stuff I'm actually seeing now because I just saw one where you can like look at your actual kitchen, put these cabinets in, see in like
hmm,
VR world what your kitchen would look like with all these different things you choose before you spent a penny. And I'm like,
yeah,
this is an absolute game changer for anything, buying a house, building a house, remodeling anything.
yeah.
But yeah, interesting that you're about the third one that we've spoken to
Yeah.
that has that same path that just drew them to VR. Should we be expecting more games down the road? I mean, obviously, we want to see this one go in the store because again, we're
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is probably top three, if not number one on my list of this should be on the official Quest
no
store. It makes
excuses.
it
Yeah,
makes no sense to me
I'm just curious.
what the
Future
future brings.
development. Yeah, if there's other type
Yeah.
games, or
So
you
yeah, definitely. I think you know we're still not done with Iron Guard. We have a PC release coming up, and we literally are doing that to again push people more towards the VR game. So we want to bring awareness to the medium more. So we're definitely going to have a PC port and a PSVR probably in the future also. Uh, those things are not yet off the radar. Uh, the other thing is, I know a lot of people have asked for multiplayer or team-based, co-op kind of gameplay, and we have a bunch of ideas for that we'd like to explore. So obviously, there is a roadmap and a lifespan that I see for Iron Guard. But beyond that, also, we already started developing two other titles. I don't know how long that's going to take, so maybe another 3 years. Hopefully not, but
Hopefully not 7.
no, no, definitely not 7. But I think those are kind of interesting. Again, we're trying to bring something really unique to the platform, which is as I said, my kind of first love, more than just the game or the experience. It's people really kind of experience something unique. Yeah, so we have two other titles in the works right now besides Iron Guard.
No, I'm excited to hear that you guys are full into the game development aspect,
Well,
though.
and reputation for product to me is so important. So it's like when
Yeah.
you see what someone's bringing to the table on their first go around, and you
Mhm.
know it's just going to get better and better
Yep.
and better. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a handful of people should definitely be paying attention to.
And are you able to talk at all about what some of these multiplayer concepts might be, or is it still too early into the development to get into that?
Yeah, I think it's a little early. I think one of the things that, I mean, just to kind of put it more uh, generally, I think with the multiplayer is that we want to make it so that it's, engaging for, again, the non-tower defense users to kind of, come into that environment and maybe pair up with people who are way more experienced and who can kind of teach them the ropes, or we can show them, okay, what things can be done. So I think that is more of a hopefully an angle that will engage more people towards this genre, I would say. Uh, yeah, so I think I'd say that it's still a little early. We're still kind of flushing out a lot of the details of how we're going to have new maps, maybe, or new worlds that would have essentially the multiplayer aspect of it.
Oh, I'm so freaking excited. There's some games that you finish and you're like, I can see that there needs to be more content. There's more things coming, definitely. Iron Guard, I finished it and it felt like a complete game start to finish in the
Mhm.
sense that if not any more updates came at all of new content, it would still be an
Still feel
amazing game.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no room for it. So any new content is a huge bonus for me. Uh,
Thank you. Yeah.
What's the $1 million question? I guess we'd selfishly ask: will there ever be an endless mode?
yeah, that was a big thing that we had
Ooh.
selfishly wanted was to see how long can I go until I lose if it just progressively gets harder.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, we have kind of gone back and forth on that. For this version or for this you know title and this release, we wanted to make sure that again, we're always open to feedback, but we wanted to make sure that people felt there is a starting and an end, and as I said, it ties in with the story, so that we wanted to kind of try to mix a few different things out here. You could say we were experimenting, but I think, yeah, for now, I think this is pretty much encapsulated what we wanted to deliver. We'll be polishing it a little bit more, fixing, if anything needs to be fixed, and hopefully putting out other platforms like PC and other features that we need to.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And
Anything to get it to the store, because
yeah,
I think once our only issue with Apple app is just the promotability of.
yeah, and how
Yeah,
visible it is.
Yep.
There's so many people that
It's
would
more of
like.
a hindrance in some cases. I mean, it's a great platform because it exists and they are helpful. We've never heard anything negative about
right.
anybody who works for Meta or Oculus, or they're like very
Yeah,
helpful.
I think it's just that they have
yeah,
so many titles coming in; it's hard to keep track of. But when we reviewed this, there was a lot of our fans of the podcast who were like, "Wait, tower defense game?
Yep. Where
Like,
where
wait,
where is
what?"
it?
So I think that there's a lot of people that, if it was on the official Quest store, would be stoked to see a traditional tower defense game come out.
hmm
Well, one that's
yeah,
polished too.
Hmm.
It'd be different if, like, graphically there was some issues
Or
or
bugs and things
bugs.
don't
No,
work.
it was
I didn't
smooth.
have anything like
We
that.
put it through some
We put it through the test.
we put it through some paces.
So I have a big question for myself, selfishly. When we were playing, we were very big about we need to get on the leaderboards because that's just the way we are. We're competitive. Once I saw it was achievable for me to land top 5, top 6, depending on how I play, I was like, that's my number one goal.
yeah,
But there are some levels, I finished second, Stratus finished second a lot for the worldwide leaderboards, but there was always one person
Oh,
at
first
the
place.
top, first place. Was that you, or was that somebody else on the team?
Well, you can thank me for the leaderboard because much of the team was completely against it, and I was like, no way, we have to have a
Oh,
leaderboard
you got to, you
because
got to.
yeah. I'm again just so competitive that I was like, if I don't know where I stand in comparison to others, I don't want to play that game, So um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm nowhere on. I mean, I'm on the leaderboard, but I've been kind of beaten so many times that it's pretty funny. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, it's like I've pretty much given up. I was like, how do these guys get this score? What am I missing? Like, how are they even, so even with 3 stars, I'm like, they still beat me by 4 points. How is that possible? So, yeah, I'm not on top all the time.
All right, maybe it's changed since then, but there was one guy I know on
Oh,
almost
he was
every
like number
level.
one
I was like, I wonder if
constantly.
that's the developer.
And I didn't know how he did
No, none of our developers are in the top 10 also right now, I think.
it.
So, how does that feel to be the one making the game, and then you see that there's people who play it better than you?
I'm actually happy. I'm glad that's the case. Initially, like when we started, obviously I was always on top of the leaderboard, and it was kind of lonely for a while. And then suddenly everything blew up, and I was like, wow, I'm like 700 now, somewhere up behind. I'm like, how did that happen? So no, I'm happy for that result rather than anything else.
Yeah, no, I think it's one of those. If someone tries it, they're gonna want to own it.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
just they got to know where to freaking go to get it. That's
Mm-hmm.
the biggest problem I see.
Yeah, I think it's man, if in a year we're still having the conversation, when more Iron Guard content comes out, and it's like 1 year from now it's still on App Lab, man, I'm gonna be very confused. It just it doesn't really make sense to me. But nonetheless, uh,
Thank you.
Still grateful it exists.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I this took us probably
Did you
what
do you
three
guys
weeks.
enjoy the achievements? Because that's one of the other things, that's a little nugget that we've kind of thrown in there. We have taken like a culmination of all our favorite movies and games, and kind of dropped in these little Easter eggs on different levels. And some people have really enjoyed that. That was one of my favorite things. Just kind of finishing the level or just trying to go back into it and looking for these little you know uh, pieces from other movies and other games. So
To be honest with you,
I
I
have not.
think I missed that.
I was big
well,
into
Wow,
let
and
me
I think
get
I
in the
need to go.
top 10 is my push, and I want to have everything unlocked because I'm
yeah,
one of those guys. If there's something that I can upgrade, I gotta upgrade it. There's no point
yeah.
in not upgrading it, and there's plenty of stuff to upgrade in this game. So it's like, so yeah, all my upgrades and getting on the leaderboard.
No, but now I think I need to go back and play a little bit, like with this in mind. Can you give an example of one?
So I won't tell you which level or where, but like we have Star Wars is one of our favorite movies.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a piece from there, somewhere hidden somewhere, which is completely blended that you can't even tell it's part of the environment, and you just have to kind of walk around or just kind of scout around the map, and then you're like, that looks odd, and if you shoot it, it explodes. So yeah, there are little nuggets like from different games and different movies that we have kind of hidden up everywhere.
So
How the fuck did we
does
miss
every
that?
level does every
No,
level
it's
contain that, or is it just
no, it's
random
random.
levels?
It's randomly placed on certain levels. I think
Okay.
there are about 12 or 14 of them. I don't, but yeah, it unlocks the one of the big achievements once you kind of get all of them.
So somebody
I don't have that achievement. Then.
no,
There's
no,
no
God
way.
no. So somebody very big on pop culture is gonna have a blast with some classic movie references and things like that. Oh my
Absolutely.
God, how
Yeah.
did I miss that? That's me being so linear, so one track mind. I'm like, I gotta beat the game, I gotta get on the leaderboard, and
Yeah.
just not
Yeah.
even
Oh, as he was saying it, I was like 1,000,000%. That's what I did.
yeah. I
Tunnel
was like,
visioned. I
oh
mean, I
my God.
appreciate that, right?
And like the building, everything about. I remember we were playing because it's a single player game, but what we usually will do is we'll party chat on the
Yeah.
Oculus, and we'll be playing the same level, so we have hey, what strategy are you doing? It just makes it a little bit even more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, I don't think at any point did one of us go, hey, that looks odd. I'm gonna go check that out more. But we had made comments like, wow, the buildings look really good. Everything's designed nice, and
Right.
yet we still didn't investigate more. I'm so disappointed in us right now.
No, I was big into where are they coming from? Where are they going
Yeah.
to?
Hmm.
I want the most points. So how am I going to play this?
Yeah, and this is a game that we put a lot of time into. It's
Oh
not
yeah.
like we rushed
No,
through
no, no,
it.
no, no. Every level
You
got
replayed.
aced.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think
That's
it's
awesome.
one of the things I learned. Well, I was working at Disney. I was an effects animator for a long time, and we always did these funny things where we'd take stuff from other movies or other projects that we worked on and kind of slip it in, hoping that someone would see it or not see it, and we'd have this kind of fun. So I think that kind of it was nice to see that also in the gaming culture. A lot of my developers, they've been pure kind of from a gaming world. They've created these amazing other 2D titles. So it was kind of nice to have that kind of commonality. So hey, let's plug this in and let's see what happens. And so yeah, that was a kind of a little fun kind of project for us.
Well, no,
No,
it's cool. I know Disney's notorious for their Easter eggs, even at the resorts and stuff.
well,
They got shit hidden everywhere. But old school games used to always have, sometimes
Yeah,
hidden in the code. You'd have to read the old code, and you could
yeah,
find shit out in there because
mhm.
they'd leave messages. So it's cool that here we are in VR, and now there's. But yeah, I got to go back and figure that one out.
Well, now I know next game, whatever whatever the next games that you guys are working on. Now I know to go in there with a much more open mind in terms of everything, and I'll be on the lookout for
No, I
Easter
was
eggs.
hardcore competitive with this.
I hope that that's an element you guys keep for your next title. So I know you mentioned that when you guys first started doing VR work, it was a lot of like architectural stuff. But what was your first ever experience as a consumer in VR? Like example, the first thing I ever did in VR was I went to my sister and her fiance's house and I tried Beat Saber, and
yeah,
I bought a Quest 2 weeks later.
yeah.
Sold instantly. For you, what was your first time in VR?
Uh, I think I tried a bunch of small stuff, but I think the thing that really kind of moved me, I would say, or made me really think like, I have to get into this, personally or professionally or however. But I want to be a part of this community and this kind of world. I think it was the underwater experience, the blue, where you have the whale kind of come by. I forget the name. I think it's called the blue or the deep blue or something like that, where you're basically on a deck of a ship and you experience this beautiful environment and this huge like 100-foot whale kind of comes right by your face, and I think that was on the Vive back then that they had that experience, and I think that was one of the main experiences that I was just blown away by. And I was like, VR has so much potential and has so much more that you can do with it. So yeah,
I think most of us have that same reaction after your first experience in VR. You're like,
No,
all you can think of is every game or every experience in life you've ever had digitally, and you're like, in VR this would be better.
dude,
And
yeah,
when I grew up,
yeah,
VR was like
hypothetical,
such a science fiction wish list. As a kid, you just talking the 70s, so even
yeah.
impossible. But you
hmm
wished that there could be a time in your life like I want to be more part of it, and here
Yeah,
we are.
and I think quality is the main thing. I mean, again, coming from a an environment where we always were outputting really high quality stuff, I wanted to make sure that this title had that level of quality that even if it's a small team with a small budget, we could really put something out that has that level that can hold up, for the next whatever how many over years. And the same thing, as I said, with the blue, when I saw that, I think it's really important to have good quality experiences out there for the medium, because I think that really engages the users. That I want to see more of this kind of stuff.
No, I totally agree. Yeah, I mean, you have a bad experience. There's still people who haven't tried the new headsets because of some experience they had,
with
5
like
years.
Gear VR,
Yep.
the
And
Right.
Samsung's
they're like,
VR.
nope, I'm not sold on that. And
Yeah, it's
then,
not ready yet.
but no, I put on
Yeah.
my Quest 2 for the first time in my little home lobby. I think I was on with you. I was like, I cannot believe this is like I'm just staring
Yep, it's that. Ah, man, you feel like a little kid,
like the holodeck, the
right?
Star Trek holodeck for real. No, your guys' quality though was spot on, and it. I mean, I'm your background now. It doesn't surprise me if your team has got similar backgrounds. It even less surprises me now. It's like these are.
Yeah, well, that was actually going to be my next question. Was you said there's about 4 or 5 people on the team? What's your exact role in the game development, and what about these other people involved? What are their roles in it?
Yeah. So a team is pretty spread all over the world right now. Obviously the core team is obviously with me in LA, I kind of wear multiple hats. I'm a producer slash director, critique, game tester, you name it. Kind of done all of that. Uh, Obviously we have our core also team in Russia and in Ukraine right now, which has been kind of interesting last couple of weeks that we have had, as a team. I mean, we've been working for the last 5-6 years now together on multiple projects, and it's last 2 weeks have been kind of really, you know, uh, challenging for the team, just because we're trying to get, obviously, make sure people are safe, everything is going as according to our future plans. So it's been challenging, but yeah. So we have developers in Ukraine, we have more designers in Russia. Uh, yeah, so the team is pretty scattered, I would say, globally.
That's awesome, though.
Uh, yeah, I'm definitely sorry to hear about
Yeah,
you know,
that's not the awesome.
yeah, he was saying awesome
Yeah,
to everything else involved
Yeah.
in that, but definitely sorry to hear, how things are affected. You guys, I can understand maybe uh, pumping out the multiplayer features that I'm sitting here dying for might not be the number one concern right now. But that's awesome that you guys have been able to get this to work for the last 4 to 5 years. How did you guys all meet? Uh, that's a pretty diverse group of people right there.
it is. It's kind of bizarre. I mean, I had a earlier startup, doing again architecture visualization, and uh, I just happened to kind of connect with people on forums and just YouTube videos that people had put out, and it's like, hey, this looks cool. What do you think of this? And one thing led to another, and then we pretty much, I've pretty much formed like a 4 or 5 member core team, and which we have kind of stuck it throughout, and just been working on different experiences and uh, different projects since then. Yeah, we never had a kind of plan. It was like one person was doing game development, one person was doing movie making. I was sitting in a different. I was actually in Dubai back then when I was even just when I started Iron Guard. So it was completely random, sitting in another country, thinking about these things, and then just connecting with people randomly all over the world, and then you just next thing you know, you have a indie company.
While in Dubai too.
Right? That's
I-
awesome.
Yeah,
And obviously you said this is you guys all have full-time jobs. This is just kind of, a hobby for you guys. Hopefully that, in the future we see this on the official store, and, hopefully this can be a full-time gig for you, just doing this.
Oh yeah,
Um I
most definitely.
yeah.
Have you guys as developers all been able to meet, or has this always been we've just done this remote and it works
Yeah,
and it clicks and
it's all been remote. I mean, everyone's had the dream to meet at some point. We always joked around that, hey, if this game makes it big enough, we can buy an island like any other indie developer and make games out there. But yeah, no, I think it's just been all remote. But again, as I said, we've been constantly in touch. We work nights and weekends, and you name it. I think this has been a truly a passion project in every way, because everyone just believed in this project so much, and the medium also, that we just wanted to put out something that was unique enough that we all could be proud of. And I told the guys right from the start, uh, it doesn't matter, if you're going to have millions of copies sold or anything. I just want to make sure that if I play it, I'm happy with it, and I don't care about the rest of anyone. So, and I think they all kind of came along for the ride, with that.
and that's
I think it shows.
and that's why we have a leaderboard.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Now
Now I
again,
need to get back onto it.
Right?
now no glitches, no issues, graphically good, sound quality's tight.
Well, it's like this. If you go in there and you're thinking in your brain, I want to make $1 million, like you said, sell 1 million units, whatever.
Man, who doesn't?
You're gonna right. Everybody wants that, but you're gonna start at some point in time cutting
Yeah.
corners. You're gonna say, I can't do that because that's gonna cost too much in assets, and now I can't. Whatever. You're gonna start to cut corners.
Yeah.
But if you go into it with a passion mindset and you're like, shit, I want this to be something I enjoy. If we make money, that's obviously the goal, but I'm not sitting here trying to make $1 million either. The
Yeah.
end result ends up being something so polished that you end up making those sales anyway, in my opinion.
No.
Yeah.
So it shows in the end result, definitely.
Oh yeah, and we see it
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
time with the smaller studios. They're able to not have to have those budget meetings that
Mhm.
probably suck
Say-
in AAA studios, and
Yeah.
Deadlines and say, oh, we can't do it because X,
and
Y, Z.
nor do they probably have a producer that says, "Look, we're going to do this, and we're going to do it because it
It's how.
has to be right. It
Hmm.
has to feel good, and I have to play
Yeah.
it." So
Yeah, I don't think
that's a
we ever had a budget meeting per se. I mean, we always, we always knew what the budget was. I mean, at least I knew what the budget was and what we were burning through. But yeah, I don't think we ever had a. In fact, we could have released the game on the Oculus Go back then, and at that point, I said, I think that was just around the time when we were pretty much, at a place where we could have released it on the go. And then the Quest 1 or the original Quest, was announced. And then I tried that and I was like, no way. Iron Guard has to be more than the Oculus Go. We need the 6 DoF stuff. And, we pretty much expanded the game from there. I mean, it was a completely different game. So it has gone through its progression. But yeah, we could have released it on the go. And obviously, we would have not probably had it today on the Quest, I feel, yeah.
that was no good decision.
Yeah, I'm glad you waited selfishly.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, and not just us. It's like there's a handful of people that we even know that they went out and got it. And
Yeah, right away almost. They were like,
wouldn't have
tower
gotten it.
defense? What?
You
Yeah.
had me at tower.
So that's awesome.
Well, I love asking people this because this is such a new genre that seems to be blowing up more and more. Hopefully, it continues to blow up. I don't want to see it discontinue as far as virtual reality, but a lot of people want to get into the industry, looking to get into the industry. Everyone seems to be coming from different walks of. I've like yet to talk to anybody that was like, nope, I went to VR school and only VR school, and now I make VR games. But what advice would you give somebody? And I'm sure you've heard it before, but hey, I want to make games. What's the best starting block advice you would give somebody that would say such a thing?
Oh, wow, that's a tough one. Um, Again, I mean, everyone has their own journey, that they kind of take. I think the best advice, I mean, if I was to give personally an advice was, just keep hustling. I mean, don't give up. And that's what my journey has been to, release this game. It has been a constant hustle. Uh, don't get demotivated. If you really want to release a game, just do it, no matter what it takes. Yeah.
Nope, that's good. I love hearing the answers because they don't really vary at the end of the day. They always seem to come down to just start
Start
it
it.
and do it.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to make a Star Wars quality, tight looking video game, but just start. Because if you
Yeah.
don't, you're never gonna.
Never gonna actually do it.
No, you're just gonna wish you had and have this and know your own limitations as a. That's the other
Yeah.
one that's common. That you're not coming out of the gate doing anything in life
Mm-hmm.
as
Right.
good as you probably wish you could. So no, that's wicked fair advice.
So if I remember, your game is $15 on the store.
Yeah, it's 14.99. Yes.
$14.99. Perfect. Very fair price, especially because 30 levels
Mhm.
that you're
Oh,
not
you're
going to
not
blow
breezing
through.
through this. No.
Easily. In fact, this isn't even what I was going to say, but it's funny. We were before we reviewed it, we were looking at we always like to go onto the store page and check out some of the positive reviews, check out some of the negative reviews.
Oh yeah,
And
there's a good one in there.
almost always the negative reviews are so stupid
They're lies.
for some of the games. Yeah, one of the negative reviews for your game, somebody was like, "There's only 3 weapons," which is not true. And then they're like, "I beat the game in 2 hours." So
Yep.
and all I could think of the whole time was obviously there's no way somebody could conceivably beat this game in 2 hours. It's impossible. There's 30 levels. Each one takes you 30 minutes.
Yeah.
All I could think of is that he played the first level, level 1. It took his sorry ass 2 hours to beat it, and he thought that was the whole game. That's the
Yeah.
only thing in my brain I could think of to comprehend that. But nonetheless, so $15 for a load of content in this game. I always wonder how developers come to the price. This is what it's going to cost. We've played some games that are $40, but in terms of amount of playtime we
Value?
got, you get $5 of playtime out of them. Conversely, example, there's a free game that we're reviewing on Friday, Cards and Tankards. It's free, and we pumped in so much time into it. So how do you decide, all right, this is what we're going to price the game at?
Yeah, I think it's really hard. I mean, it's I think one of those more difficult things. Obviously, everyone wants to get the best buck for all the work that they've put in. I think we wanted to be a little bit kind of cautious that I think we wanted to really kind of engage the community, bring as many players in as possible, without really, you know, giving away everything that we have done. So we were kind of contemplating on a few different price points, but we felt like in the long run, I think this might be. And again, it gives us a flexibility. If you go too high, then you have to keep giving discounts. If you go too low, then it's always that other side where how do you go higher. So I think we wanted to be in a kind of in a reasonable arena where for $15 you can get at least 10, 12 hours minimum if you're really good of
Minimum.
good value gameplay. And then we could always bundle that up with other things. We can bring down the price. We can do all kind of things with that. So I think $15 kind of seemed like a good kind of price point. So we kind of went with that.
No, that,
No,
that
it was a great price point.
yeah, I
I
think
might have even said I would have paid 20 with
easily
no,
20,
yeah.
25. That was going to be my next point, but I think your logic that you have behind it is very fair. Of
Mhm.
you easily could get away with a higher price, but maybe in the long run that's not the best because then you're always running discounts, or
Yeah.
in App Lab where it's just trying to get as many people to play it as possible. Maybe
Right.
that's not the best decision right now. Man, $15 for this game is very,
No,
very
it's
justifiable.
definitely a must own experience
Yeah,
for sure.
for anyone who's a tower defense fan, anybody who's a strategy game fan, this you know this was a home run for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again,
Anyone who
I
likes
was
chess, I love that comment. That's kind of stuck
Yeah,
in my head.
No, it
It's
is
chess
good.
on steroids.
yeah.
You need the strategy to have a strategy. You have to have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just go in there haphazardly.
Yeah, and let's
Yeah.
be real. For $15, it's not like you guys are. I know you've done work for Disney before, but it's not like you're Disney. You're this major studio.
Right.
Just rolling in, investors and anything like that.
Scrooge McDuck money.
Yeah, you guys are indie developers just hoping to make it, eventually a full time gig. I don't think anybody could complain about that
Uh-uh.
price.
No, I would challenge anybody to complain about that price
Mm-hmm.
in any stretch. If anything, they'd be like me and be like, oh, probably could have charged a little more.
Mm-hmm.
But I think 14 for something that's that engaging is more value. You're getting more value than money you spent
Mm-hmm.
for sure. I mean, think of that 10 hours if you're a pro.
Yeah, I question 10 to 12 hours because, man, I don't think I'm bad at tower defense games, but there were some levels that, like, oh
Yeah.
shit, I think I was stuck on them for several days, for like two or
Yeah. We
3 days
wanted
of play
to.
session. So
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say 10 or 12 hours. That would I question it. They would have to have a guide of, say, on this level, play it here, here, here. Just because on first playthrough, I don't see how.
Mm,
Yeah.
that's a good point.
Yeah, yeah, we wanted to balance it out so that it's not, again, we were trying to engage the experience, tower defense RTS players, but at the same time, someone who's starting new. And we had quite a few funny comments, from people who have tried it for the first time, and they loved it, and they're like, "Oh, this is amazing." And some of them were always getting stuck, and they'd come back on our Discord channel and it's like, "Oh, can you tell me how to do this thing?" And then we'd like kind of give them some steps. So that was always kind of nice. But yeah, we have tried to keep that level where it's not all easy. It's not a flat, straight kind of gameplay. It has this ups and downs where you can relax on a few levels, and then a few levels you really have to think what you're doing. Otherwise, you're just gonna go into this loop.
Awesome. And do you want to plug your Discord real quick, of maybe where
Yeah, I was
our
going to go
listeners
there.
can find it? I was a big advocate of the Discord just for getting help and advice because you guys have a really the game can be hard, and you guys have a really welcoming community there. There's not really any toxicity,
No,
and you
they're
go
on.
in.
I have them
And
on
it's
my.
funny, you go in
Yeah,
there, you'll see people do it. They'll be like, "Hey, how do you do level 21 or level 16?" And then you'll see people be like, "Well, this is what I did." It's like people
right.
memorize the levels by heart, so it's pretty funny. So if any of our listeners are stuck in the game or they just want to join a good community, where can they find your Discord?
It's on our Steam page on the App Lab Quest page. We have the Discord link in there. So by all means, we also have a demo on SideQuest, which have been incredible partners with us. They've been really supporting us, and I think that's our main kind of channel to kind of promote the game and bring it out to the Quest community at least.
Yeah, Quest community needs to step up on this one
Yeah,
because they're missing out.
yeah,
You're missing out.
and
I'll say it straight up.
huge shout out to SideQuest as well, the original App Lab store. You could almost say they're definitely huge
Right.
for indie
Yeah,
developers. I can see why they're helping promote you guys a lot because I mean, shit, you look at the finished product and it's like I would stand behind this 100%.
Mhm. No, it's not every game we try in App Lab either. Like you had mentioned earlier, should be store worthy, but it's shameful at the ones that are
Yeah.
because they're sitting there in a space that's not. I mean, it's not really doing anybody justice. It's
Mm-hmm.
if you find it, yes, but all parties at the end of the day would probably be better if it just got the little shove to
Yes,
the.
it benefits.
But I get it. From a management standpoint of time and people, it's like it's crazy.
Yeah, but I think any genre that's not heavily filled on their store, there
Oh
should
yeah,
be
should get the
there should
attention.
be an
Yeah,
asterisk next to it that if a game's on App Lab in that genre, specialize on it. Because as a consumer, when you purchase the device, you don't know about App Lab. So you purchase the device. There's some people, tower defense games and strategy games are their favorite games. So you purchase a headset, you go, all right, I'm gonna go look for some strategy games. You're gonna go find on the official store Eternal Starlight.
yeah. No, I get
It,
what
so
you're
it's
saying.
it's a weak spot for the consumer where then they might go, this headset's not for me. The store is not ready yet. When the games are on the store, you just can't find them.
Yeah,
That's unfortunate. So if it's a genre that's not heavily filled, it should be like streamlined to the official store just so that consumers, when they get their headset, they feel like they're playing a store with a complete,
hmm
the genres are
Yeah.
filled out. It's not like, oh, what's going on, when really there's 5 times the amount of apps, but you just don't know about them.
nope, I agree.
Yeah.
So,
And
uh,
and we're the consumer.
yeah. uh, so we're getting close to an hour now. I know life's pretty busy for developers. Most times where we talk about them, you guys are
Usually
burning at both.
busier than us.
Yeah, usually you guys are burning at both ends. You mentioned you have a full-time job as well, so we definitely appreciate you coming on. We don't want to take up your whole day. Before we let you go, anything like that, is there anything you want to plug about your game or any other social media channels, anything like that you want to plug before we let you go?
No, I think guys, thank you guys for doing this and your support. We are appreciative of everyone who supports us. So thank you. Yeah.
No, we thank you, and certainly with what you had shared with us, we hope your team stays safe and everyone's able to come out of this in one good happy group, and you guys can have your team meeting
Your
eventually.
in-person
Yeah,
celebration when it's all
Yes.
said and done.
more than ever.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we understand it's
Thank
a very tough situation. So definitely, this is a podcast about Iron Guard. Let's keep things, happy positivity. Hopefully we see your game on the official store
Yeah, and I'd love to have Zubin back when down the road.
when they're actually
Yeah,
on the
well, I
official
mean,
store.
this is with the development of this game and then some future projects, there's certain developers that I just want to watch because the bar has been set.
Yeah,
So
definitely. But I was going to say for any of our listeners, if they're looking to support, developers actually being impacted by the crisis and situation going on, I say go on the store, go pick up Iron Guard, and go dump 20 hours of gameplay content into it.
easily.
So awesome. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
joining us, Zubin, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.